We live in a world where money is a symbol of power and independence, a means of survival, and yet for many it is also a reflection of inner struggle and contradiction. It speaks to our deepest fears and desires, our need for security, our search for freedom, and our desire to find meaning in a world that often seems consumed by materialism. At the heart of the psychology of women and money is a profound question: what does money mean to us? For women, it is often not just a tool of exchange, but a mirror of the inner world, a reflection of how we feel about ourselves, our worth, and our place in the grand scheme of life. Money reveals the tension between the desire for security and the longing for freedom. It is the balancing act between staying grounded and reaching for the sky. From the moment we are born, society shapes our views on money. For women, this shaping is especially pronounced, as we are often taught to view wealth through the lens of what it can bring: stability, comfort, or even guilt. And so many women grow up with a conflicting relationship to money, both desiring it and fearing it. We may long for financial independence, yet struggle with the feeling that money somehow corrupts the purity of our values. Yet there is power in choice, the ability to choose where we live, what we do, and how we spend our time is the true freedom that money can offer. Financial independence is not merely about accumulating wealth, it is about opening the doors of possibility. It is about creating the freedom to be who we truly are without being constrained by the opinions or expectations of others. Women by nature have a more collective approach to money. Our desire to nurture and care for those around us often leads us to share, to invest in the well-being of our families and communities. And yet this tendency to give can sometimes come at the expense of our own financial health. We must learn to strike a balance between caring for others and caring for ourselves, recognizing that our own well-being is the foundation from which we can truly give. At the same time, we live in a world that has been conditioned by the myth of scarcity. We are told that there is never enough, that the pie is limited, and that we must compete for our slice. But this narrative is a trap. The truth is that the universe is abundant, and so is our potential. There is enough for everyone, enough to share, to grow, and to create a world that is rich not only in wealth, but in connection and love. For women, the fear of losing control often runs deep. We are taught to seek stability, to safeguard our security. Yet true freedom comes not from controlling the flow of money, but from trusting in its rhythm. It is a dance that we must learn to move with, not to manipulate. In surrendering the need for control, we discover the deeper currents of life, flowing in ways we could never predict. There is also a spiritual dimension to money. It is a form of energy, a current that flows in and out of our lives. When we see money not as a material possession, but as a tool for self-expression, we begin to understand its true purpose. Money, when used wisely, can empower us to live a life of meaning, creativity, and contribution. Tuition is one of the most powerful tools we have in our financial lives. Often women possess an innate wisdom that guides us toward the right choices, long before logic can catch up. It is this deep, intuitive knowing that can make all the difference in how we approach our finances, from investments to everyday spending. Our relationships with money are also shaped by those around us. The way our parents, partners, and peers view money often dictates how we approach it. If we grow up in an environment where money is seen as a source of anxiety or stress, we may internalize these beliefs. But we also have the power to change these patterns, to redefine our relationship with money, and to free ourselves from limiting beliefs. Ultimately, true wealth is not measured in material possessions, but in the richness of our lives, our experiences, our love, and our connection to the world. Women are increasingly redefining what it means to be wealthy, seeking not just financial security, but fulfillment in all areas of life. So as we stand at the crossroads of money and self, let us embrace the power of choice, the wisdom of intuition, and the abundance of life itself. Let us recognize that money is not the end, but a tool that can help us create the life we truly desire. And in this dance with money, let us find harmony not in the accumulation of wealth, but in the freedom to live authentically and fully. Money is often viewed as a mere tool, an exchange of value, or a medium that enables us to access goods and services. However, beneath this utilitarian function lies a deeper and more profound truth. Money is a reflection of our inner balance. How we engage with money, how we acquire, spend, save, or give speaks volumes about our internal state, our beliefs, and our emotional landscape. To understand money is to understand the relationship between the external world of material wealth and the inner world of personal and spiritual well-being. At its core, money is not just about accumulating wealth. It is a symbolic representation of energy, a flow that moves in and out of our lives. And like all forms of energy, it mirrors our attitudes, beliefs, and emotions. When we feel secure and at peace with ourselves, money tends to flow more freely, almost as if the universe recognizes our readiness to receive. On the other hand, when we experience fear, doubt, or a lack of self-worth, money often seems elusive or tied to anxiety. This is because money, at its deepest level, is intertwined with our self-perception. If we do not feel worthy of wealth or success, we may inadvertently block its flow, unable to attract or hold on to it. This connection between inner balance and financial well-being can be seen in the ways people approach their financial lives. Those who are at peace with themselves tend to make decisions based on intuition, guided by a sense of trust in both themselves and the universe. They are not driven by fear of scarcity or the need to prove something. Instead, they approach money as a tool for personal expression, a way to create the life they desire, without the obsessive pursuit of material gain for its own sake. These individuals understand that money is not the ultimate goal, it is a means to a more fulfilling and purposeful life. In contrast, those who experience inner turmoil or insecurity may find their relationship with money fraught with stress and tension. They may chase after wealth in an attempt to fill an internal void, believing that having more money will bring them the happiness, status, or approval they seek. This is the paradox of materialism, where the pursuit of wealth often stems from a deep inner dissatisfaction, and yet the more one chases after it, the further it seems to slip away. The anxiety around money often becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, creating a cycle where the fear of not having enough prevents the individual from accessing the abundance they desire. The key, then, lies in cultivating inner balance. This does not mean rejecting the desire for wealth or material success, but rather aligning one's financial goals with a deeper sense of purpose. When we approach money from a place of emotional and psychological equilibrium, we can tap into the natural flow of abundance that exists in the world. Just as we need to maintain balance in our physical health, we must also attend to our financial health, ensuring that our thoughts and emotions around money are in harmony with our greater sense of self-worth and purpose. Inner balance involves a number of elements: self-awareness, trust, and a sense of connection to the larger whole. Self-awareness allows us to recognize and challenge the limiting beliefs we may hold about money. If we have been conditioned to think that money is the root of all evil, or that it is unattainable for people like us, we must first identify these beliefs in order to release them. Trust, both in ourselves and the world around us, is also crucial. When we trust that the universe is abundant and that we are worthy of success, we open ourselves to receiving what we need. Lastly, a sense of connection to something larger than ourselves, whether that be our community, nature, or a higher power, helps to put money in its proper perspective. We begin to see money not as a separate, isolated force, but as part of the greater flow of life. Thus, money, when understood in this way, becomes not a symbol of materialism or greed, but a reflection of our inner state. It is a tool that can amplify our sense of peace and fulfillment, or it can serve as a mirror of our inner fears and conflicts. The key to unlocking financial well-being then lies not in external strategies or tactics, but in the alignment of our inner world with the outer world of money. When we cultivate inner balance, we find that money, like everything else, begins to flow effortlessly, reflecting back to us the peace, trust, and abundance that reside within. The relationship between security and freedom is one of the most profound and paradoxical aspects of the human experience, particularly when it comes to money. In a world that constantly oscillates between stability and uncertainty, we often find ourselves torn between these two desires: security, the safety of knowing we have enough, and freedom, the exhilaration of knowing we can live without limits. This dance between security and freedom is not merely a mental or emotional tug of war. It is a deep and intrinsic conflict that shapes the way we approach money, our lives, and our very sense of self. Security is a fundamental human need. At its most basic level, it represents survival, a guarantee that we can provide for ourselves and those we love, that our physical and emotional needs will be met. Money, in this context, is a tool to ensure that we have what we need to feel safe in a world that is often unpredictable. Whether it's having a stable job, a steady income, or a savings cushion, security allows us to rest, to relax into the present moment, knowing that we are protected from the threats of the unknown. When we feel secure, we feel rooted in the world, and that sense of rootedness provides a kind of peace. It allows us to focus on other aspects of life, like relationships, creativity, and personal growth, without the constant pressure of survival. However, security can also become a cage. The pursuit of safety and stability, especially when linked to money, can sometimes lead to a desire for control, a need to ensure that everything remains predictable and stable. When the desire for security dominates, it can create fear of losing what we have, fear of taking risks, and fear of stepping out of the familiar. The more we accumulate, the more we feel the weight of protecting those possessions, and the more we focus on securing our future, the less we are able to enjoy the present. This is the paradox in seeking security. We may unknowingly limit ourselves. The pursuit of safety can come at the cost of our freedom to live fully, to experience life in all its fluid, unpredictable beauty. Freedom, on the other hand, is the antithesis of control. It represents the ability to choose, to roam, to explore without boundaries or restrictions. Money, in this context, becomes a means to an end, not a goal in itself. It is the key that opens doors to new experiences, new possibilities, and new ways of being. Financial freedom allows us to break away from the constraints of societal expectations, to define our own path, and to follow our passions without being tethered to the need for constant security. It's the freedom to travel, to explore creative pursuits, or to live according to a set of values that may not align with traditional definitions of success. In this sense, money becomes a tool for self-expression, a way to live authentically and without limitation. Yet freedom can also be a source of anxiety. The absence of security, the unknown nature of the future, can be unsettling. Without the safety net of a steady income or financial cushion, the sense of freedom may become overwhelming and even paralyzing. The very thing that promises liberation can feel like a weight, especially when we are uncertain about the future. So freedom requires a leap of faith, an ability to embrace uncertainty, and a willingness to surrender the need for control. But this surrender does not come easily. It takes courage to trust that life will unfold as it should, even when we cannot predict the outcome. The dance between security and freedom is not about choosing one over the other. It is about finding balance, understanding that these two forces are not in opposition but are complementary aspects of life. Security provides the foundation, the grounding that allows freedom to flourish. Without some measure of safety, it would be impossible to take the risks that lead to greater fulfillment and personal growth. At the same time, freedom prevents security from becoming stifling, from turning into a trap that limits growth and possibility. True freedom is not about the absence of security, but the ability to move fluidly between the two, to trust in the present moment while remaining open to the future. The key is not to seek an idealized version of either security or freedom, but to integrate them into a harmonious whole. When we achieve this balance, money becomes a tool for navigating life's complexities, providing the security we need to feel safe and the freedom we need to feel alive. It is the ability to hold both in equilibrium, to recognize that security is a means to an end and freedom is a gift that comes from living in alignment with one's true desires. In this dance, we are not chained to either extreme, but instead we move gracefully between them, guided by an inner sense of balance and purpose. From the moment we are born, we are shaped by the culture that surrounds us. Our values, beliefs, and behaviors are molded by the society we are part of, and this includes our relationship with money. Financial identity is not something we are born with, rather, it is constructed through the cultural narratives, expectations, and behaviors that are passed down through generations. Whether consciously or unconsciously, the messages we receive about money influence how we see ourselves and our worth in the world, as well as how we manage our financial resources. Cultural conditioning around money is deeply ingrained, shaping the way we spend, save, and invest, often without us even realizing its influence. In many cultures, money is associated with power, status, and success. From a young age, children are often taught that financial success is a sign of personal achievement, that it reflects hard work, intelligence, and ambition. These cultural narratives can create a deeply rooted belief that one's value is determined by how much money they accumulate. This conditioning leads individuals to define themselves in terms of their financial standing, often resulting in a constant race to acquire more. If success is measured by the amount of money one possesses, those who struggle to accumulate wealth may feel inadequate or like failures. In this way, financial identity becomes tied to self-worth, creating anxiety and pressure to conform to societal expectations. For women, cultural conditioning around money is often even more complex. In many societies, women have been historically relegated to passive roles when it comes to financial decision-making. They may be conditioned to view money as something to be managed by a partner or a male figure in the household. While the world has evolved, many of these historical beliefs still linger, subtly influencing women's relationship with money. Women are often taught to be cautious with money, to save rather than invest, and to prioritize the needs of others over their own financial well-being. These cultural norms can create a sense of financial insecurity, as women may lack confidence in their ability to make financial decisions or feel guilt when they prioritize their own financial needs. Additionally, cultural conditioning can influence financial behavior through societal expectations of gender roles. For example, women may be taught to be selfless, nurturing, and responsible with money, while men are often encouraged to be more assertive, competitive, and risk-taking in financial matters. These expectations can limit women's financial freedom, as they may feel constrained by the need to live up to these idealized gender roles. A woman who seeks financial independence or who is ambitious in her pursuit of wealth may face criticism or judgment, as this behavior challenges traditional cultural norms. This conditioning extends beyond gender, however. People of different cultural backgrounds may have unique beliefs about money that influence their financial identity. In some cultures, there is a strong emphasis on communal living and collective wealth, where money is seen as a resource to be shared with the community rather than hoarded for individual gain. In such environments, the concept of financial success may be defined not by individual accumulation but by the ability to contribute to the well-being of others. This cultural belief can lead individuals to prioritize generosity over personal wealth, often leading to financial decisions that reflect a sense of social responsibility and interconnectedness. Similarly, some cultures emphasize frugality, modesty, and simplicity in financial matters, viewing excessive wealth as morally questionable or even corrupt. In these cultural contexts, individuals may feel pressure to downplay their financial success or avoid materialistic pursuits, even if they have the means to live more lavishly. On the flip side, in cultures that place high value on outward appearances and material success, individuals may feel compelled to spend beyond their means in order to maintain a certain status or social image. These cultural conditioning factors often result in an unconscious internalization of financial values that affect how individuals manage money. For some, these messages lead to feelings of inadequacy, guilt, or confusion when it comes to their financial decisions. For others, they may experience a sense of pride or validation when they adhere to these cultural expectations. However, in both cases, the influence of cultural conditioning can limit personal financial freedom, preventing individuals from developing a truly authentic financial identity based on their own values and goals. Breaking free from the constraints of cultural conditioning requires self-awareness and introspection. It involves questioning the beliefs and assumptions we have inherited about money and evaluating whether they align with our true desires and needs. By recognizing the ways in which our financial identity has been shaped by external influences, we can begin to redefine our relationship with money, creating a financial identity that reflects our authentic selves rather than one imposed by societal expectations. This process requires not only financial literacy but also emotional and psychological growth, as we learn to navigate the tension between cultural conditioning and personal empowerment. In doing so, we can free ourselves from the limitations of the past and take control of our financial future. The approach to money can differ significantly depending on whether one subscribes to a collective or individualistic mindset. These two perspectives shape not only how money is earned and spent, but also how it is viewed within the context of relationships, community, and personal success. The collective approach to money emphasizes shared resources, community well-being, and a sense of interconnectedness, while the individualistic approach places value on personal autonomy, self-reliance, and the accumulation of wealth as an individual achievement. Both approaches are deeply influenced by cultural, social, and economic factors, and they highlight different ways of engaging with money in the world. In a collective approach to money, financial well-being is seen as a shared responsibility. This perspective places the emphasis on group solidarity and the idea that financial success is not just about individual prosperity, but about lifting up others within a community. For those who embrace this view, money becomes a tool for supporting family, friends, and even strangers, prioritizing the needs of others over personal gain. The focus is on ensuring that everyone within the collective has enough, even if that means sacrificing individual wealth accumulation for the sake of equality and social welfare. In many cultures, this approach manifests in practices like pooling resources, communal living, and collective economic strategies such as cooperatives and mutual aid networks. The collective approach to money often values financial sharing and generosity, where personal wealth is not viewed as something to be hoarded or flaunted, but as a resource to be distributed for the greater good. This mindset can lead to a sense of fulfillment that comes from contributing to the welfare of others, knowing that one's financial actions are supporting a larger social fabric. People who embrace this philosophy tend to see their financial decisions as part of a broader moral and ethical framework, where they aim to reduce inequality and ensure that others have access to opportunities and resources. While there may be a sense of security in knowing that the community will support one another, the focus is on mutual assistance rather than individual gain. The individualistic approach to money emphasizes personal achievement, self-reliance, and the belief that financial success is a reflection of one's own efforts and abilities. In this mindset, wealth is often seen as a measure of personal worth and accomplishment. Individuals who subscribe to this philosophy typically focus on accumulating resources for their own benefit, viewing money as a way to achieve independence, freedom, and status. The belief here is that each person is responsible for their own financial situation, and success is determined by how effectively one can navigate the economic system. An individualistic approach often promotes competition and the idea that wealth is earned through hard work, ingenuity, or entrepreneurial spirit. In societies that emphasize individualism, there is often a strong cultural expectation to pull oneself up by the bootstraps, where financial success is viewed as a direct result of personal initiative rather than collective effort. This approach tends to prioritize personal freedom and autonomy, as financial independence is seen as a pathway to greater opportunities and self-expression. However, it can also lead to a focus on personal gain at the expense of others, as individual achievement becomes the dominant metric of success. While the collective approach fosters a sense of community and shared responsibility, it can sometimes limit personal financial freedom, as the emphasis on equality may reduce the incentive for individual ambition. On the other hand, an individualistic approach can create a culture of self-interest, where the focus on personal wealth accumulation may contribute to social inequality or neglect of communal needs. Both perspectives offer valuable insights, but they also highlight the tension between self-interest and social responsibility, and the ongoing challenge of balancing individual autonomy with the well-being of the collective. In a globalized world, these two approaches often exist in tension, especially as economic systems become more interconnected. Many individuals find themselves navigating between these two extremes, balancing personal financial goals with the desire to contribute to their communities. The challenge lies in finding a way to integrate both perspectives, where individual success does not come at the expense of others, and where collective well-being includes the space for personal growth and autonomy. This integration can lead to a more balanced, sustainable approach to money, one that acknowledges the importance of both self and society in shaping financial decisions. In conclusion, the collective and individualistic approaches to money represent two distinct but interconnected perspectives on financial well-being. The collective approach emphasizes shared resources and communal responsibility, focusing on the welfare of others and fostering a sense of social solidarity. In contrast, the individualistic approach prioritizes personal achievement, self-reliance, and financial independence, often equating wealth with personal success.